Hello everyone, Mario DC Extension Wrestlers here, and today we have an African lion versus a grizzly bear, and then we have an African lion versus a polar bear. This is actually the second time I'm recording this. Oh god, it was a pain, because I was saying so much and then I realized the microphone wasn't even on, and so this is the second time I have to record. Oh my god. Yeah, let's just get this over with. Yeah. So, what I did in the previous recording was I gave a description, and the same thing I'm going to do in this recording. So, an African lion, well, I think we all know African lions, grizzly bears, and polar bears. Mainly, I would just say some misconceptions, I guess. So, some misconceptions a lion, an African lion, which is the one we're going to be using in this fight, is that some African lions, or lions, I should say, while they have a very powerful bite force and powerful claws, they're not that powerful. Lions are also not as durable as some people who may not think. Some people would think a lion is one of the most durable creatures if it can take on all these creatures, but really it's not. You see, lions wouldn't even fight a hippo. Because and I'd say a lion is pretty smart. Yeah. Grizzly bears don't have that many misconceptions, but I guess the one is that as powerful and robust as they are, they do have a lot of weak spots. The main one is the belly. The belly. If you saw, like, on Jurassic Fight Club, the Ice Age episode where the cave bear were fighting, the lion went for the bear's belly. Usually, the bear's bellies is one of their weakest spots. And finally, we have the polar bear. Out of these three creatures, the polar bear has the most misconceptions. You see, while polar bear is the tallest and maybe even the strongest bear, it has a very weak skull. It's very thin. While yes, they are carnivorous and yes, they are aggressive, they're not that aggressive, really. So in a fight, I'm pretty sure that even then, I'll lie. And besides, grizzlies have been known to take out polar bears. So even then, it's not like a huge advantage for a polar bear. So who wins this fight? These fights? Well, let's break it down. Now, in a fight between an African lion and a grizzly bear, it's actually a pretty close fight. Most people say, oh, grizzlies destroy right away. Grizzlies, yes, are very powerful, but I think this is a lot closer than most people think. Yes, a grizzly is larger, and yes, it's definitely more stronger. It has a more robust skull, and yes, it has more powerful jaws and paws. But I'd say a lion is only slightly more intelligent. Also, bears are really solitary creatures, and for this fight, for those wondering, we're going to be using the North American bear, grizzly bear. North American, the one that's in Alaska and Canada. Bears and lions are very equal when it comes to intelligence, though I'd say a lion is only a little bit more intelligent. Lions are much better fighters. This one should be really no debate. You see, grizzlies are more solitary creatures and just happy to be left alone. Lions are the exact opposite. They're more of a social group, meaning they would more often be in fights together. Whether it's with other lions or other creatures, they tend to fight more often. Even though the bear is strong and powerful, the lion is definitely more agile and quicker. I think one thing the lion also has is that they're better hunters as well. Yes, there are many times where a hunt doesn't go well. It's usually the lioness or the female lions that do most hunting, especially whether it's against hippos or elephants. Male lions, which is the one we're using in this fight, are known to take out elephants in group less than two or more than one. Like two or three can take down a fully grown elephant. And elephants are pretty powerful. I'd also say if a male lions can take down elephants, they can take down a hippopotamus and also a rhino. A pretty small group. So who wins this fight? I have to give this to the lion. It's a very, very close fight. Yes, bears would take out like moose, just like how a lion would take out a buffalo. And yes, bear would steal, just like how a lion would steal from a hyena. However, the lion is a little bit more powerful, in my opinion. And it's a little bit more powerful. It's only slightly more powerful. Grizzlies are very, very powerful creatures. In fact, I would actually say a grizzly bear would also win this fight. The only difference is I would actually say that lion more often than not should win this fight. I was gonna say destroys, but no, that's not a right word. He would more often win this fight due to one, it has better fighting experiences. It's a little bit more intelligent. It's a lot faster, and it's a much, much better fighter. So, in my opinion, I'd say a lion should win against a bear, in my opinion at least. Now let's go on to the polar bear. Yes, the polar bear may be. Yes, polar bears are definitely stronger and more powerful, and definitely a little larger than lions and even grizzlies combined. Right. But in a fight, yes, however, in fights, polar bears are really not that great and are not that impressive when it comes to a fight. And I'm just gonna spoil it for y'all. A lion is gonna win this fight very easily. You see, while polar bear and grizzly bears have had fights before, usually the grizzly wins. Usually it's either because of aggression or it's heavy or muscle. And polar bears are really not that aggressive and are really not that impressive when it comes to a fight. You see, polar bears are actually afraid of a walrus. Yeah, they're afraid of walrus. Yes, lions have lost to hippos, zebras, but they've also taken down those creatures before. Polar bears can't even take down a single walrus. While a lion would struggle with a walrus, there would be some times where I would say a lion would actually win against a walrus. Lions are just far more powerful than polar bears. They're also a lot smarter than a polar bear. You see, polar bears sometimes are not that smart when it comes to the bear kingdom, and they're also not that powerful. They're on the same level, I want to say, as, say, like a black bear. Just a little bit more powerful, just more powerful version of a black bear. And grizzlies and lions should win against black bears. Black bears really aren't that powerful, in my opinion, and they can also get taken down pretty quickly. Polar bears' main advantage is they can swim in the water, and lions are horrible swimmers. But at the same time, that's not really an advantage. You see, the polar bear has never fought someone like a lion. It's not. You see, lions have fought creatures that are very similar to bears, or mainly polar bears, like a hippo. You know, hippos are both. Polar bears have similarities. They're both very aggressive, and they're both mainly in the water. So I'm pretty sure a lion would think that this is just like fighting a hippo. Except the only difference is that hippos are a lot more powerful than a bear. So in a fight, who would win this fight? I have to say the lion, 10 times out of 10. It's too powerful for a polar bear to handle. The lion has far more advantages. And I'm pretty sure that there were some cases where I believe the Barbary lion was reported to at least take down polar bears at one point. I'm not sure if that's true, but yeah. If this was the Asian lion, chances are it probably would lose to a polar bear and a grizzly bear. But the African lion is far too much. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see you next. Please, as always, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.